Hi, this quick video is going to demonstrate how we can use Ansible to automate the installation of ThinManager, as well as do some initial configuration. For the purposes of this demo, I have two virtual machines running. This Ubuntu build that has Ansible version 2.15.8 installed, as well as this test server, which is a Windows Server 2019 build that we will be using Ansible to install ThinManager on. I have two Ansible playbooks that we'll be utilizing here. One, ThinManager-install to do a silent install of ThinManager and do some configuration on the server, like setting up the necessary firewall rules. And then I have a ThinManager-config playbook that's going to now target that new installation and do some initial configuration on that machine, such as setting the ThinManager database configuration, and creating some ThinManager objects like display servers, display clients, and terminals. So let's see this in action. We're going to go ahead and first launch the install playbook, and it's going to target our test server. So you'll see one of the first steps is launching that silent install using the MSI file for ThinManager, and we're able to provide some parameters there, including enabling the ThinManager API. We're now assigning a domain account that's specified in the playbook to the local administrators group on our target server. We're granting that domain account permission to run as a service, because now we're going to assign that domain account to the ThinServer service. And then lastly, we're setting up the necessary firewall rules on the Windows firewall. So that's the complete installation playbook. We now have a fresh install of ThinManager deployed on our test server. We're going to now run our second playbook, which is going to do some initial configuration for us. So we'll see that we're going to log into that REST API, obtain an API key for the rest of the steps. We're now going to get an OS installation ID so that we can activate a ThinManager activation license. At this point, if we were using a ThinManager activation, we would use that install ID to activate the license on the licensing website of ThinManager, providing a product key. We would download that license file to the same location as this playbook. And once we have that in place and we name it TMA.lic, we would hit enter to continue. And we would then copy that, the playbook copies that to the target server and performs an activation. And it then creates a display server, a display client, a terminal, and does some initial system settings like enabling the Pixie server, as well as disabling device authentication. So if we now come over to this target server, you'll see that sure enough, there's ThinManager. It's indicating that we don't have our license file installed just yet. But if I take a look, you'll see that there are some objects automatically created by the playbook. We have a display client, there's our display server, and then there's a terminal there. Right? All of these items were configured using the REST API of ThinManager using that Ansible playbook.